I'd like to call to order this meeting of June 14th, 2017, Flag Day. If you would, please all stand for a moment of silent meditation and a pledge to the flag. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Renetta, consent and approval, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have 12 exonerations for $2,097.23. Vouchers for General County, $332, $437.34. Whole severance, $3,945.21. 911, $11,880.17. Chestnut Ridge Park, $4199.33. Camp Muffley, $3,086.21. Mason-Dixon Park, $1,344.23. Recreation levy, $1,360.97. Assessor's valuation, $8,661.39. Purchasing card vouchers, General County, $52,417.80. 911, $13,880.52. Chestnut Ridge Park, $95.98. Camp Muffley, $11.59. Assessor's valuation, $1,083.09 for a voucher total of $433,403.83. We have several budget revisions to approve. For state auditor's approval, we have contingencies decreasing fund balance 001299 by $14,447, and we're also decreasing contingencies 699,600 by the $14,447. Prosecuting attorney, check was received for from the Mon Metro Drug Task Force, and she's asking for that to be placed into personal services for $723. We got the juvenile detention, which is the Youth Services Center, just to adjust their payroll and their reimbursement that we're receiving in the amount of $85,800. Human Resources to correct deficiencies in budget lines. We're decreasing 401,230 by $35,000 and increasing 951, 568.03 and 08 by $25,000 and $10,000 respectively. In-house budget revisions for County Commission. Rehab of properties and data processing, just to correct those budget lines. We've got position vacancies for boards and authorities, the Board of Zoning Appeals, Planning Commission, and the Historic Landmarks Commission. Fiduciary orders for June the 14th, 2017.
Thank you.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I don't see anybody, but are there any introductions of any new employees or personnel changes? Hearing none, we will move on to comments from the public. We are now officially open for comments from the public. If you would please stand, identify yourself, and you've got 3 minutes to address us.
I'm Dr. J. Scott Mises, and I was on faculty for 13 years at Chestnut Ridge at WVU. I humbly say I'm an internationally known researcher in the field of eating disorders. Through the vicissitudes of life, I had the pleasure, if you will, I'm now living in the Bartlett House, and I am appalled about the situation of the Bartlett House. With your permission, I have several things that you can look at on my cell phone. What I'm asking the county commissioners to consider is a forum of some kind where you can talk to people, look at them, meet them, shake their hands, hear their stories, hear about the terrible things that have been done to them by the staff at Bartlett House. As a quick little example, They have Panera Bread in the morning, Panera pastry in the morning. That comes from a garbage sack. The garbage sack is left at the house, and that's what we get served. One day we got served bread from a local company, and the Bartlett house was closed. Dogs were eating out of that box because it had been put outside. We have a major problem going up in terms of them shutting the house down during the day so that we don't have anywhere to go. I know over the holiday weekend I spent 3 days lugging around about 100-pound suitcase because they wouldn't let me leave the suitcase. May I approach?
Sure. I think it'd be okay. Yes.
Just thumb through there. Again, I'm not a politician and I don't know your rules and procedures. The thought came to my mind is that they could be on the agenda for this regular meeting and plan for a significant amount of time because it takes time to tell people to tell you their story. I've done more supportive, quote, psychotherapy in the last 2 weeks than I had in 10 years before that. As an alternative, I would like the county commissioners to consider perhaps a special meeting so that they can come and tell their stories and tell how the Bartlett House has frankly abused them. They throw people's clothes away. I'm asking for an extended period of time because people's stories take a while. I'm working very hard to get people to be willing to come because homeless people live in a constant state of being shunned, like the Amish are shunned. I went from being, in terms of prestige of a job, number one is a doctor, number two is a professor, and I was both. Now I am the scum of the earth. My own sister will not contact me as soon as I got in the Bartlett house. That's why I think they need to be a situation where they feel safe, protected. Some will only put information before you via a letter because they don't want to be exposed and rejected yet again. So that's the need, and I defer to the commission on, those are just my two ideas, on connecting at a personal level with the folks in the Bartlett house.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Are there any other comments from the public? Hearing none, we will close comments from the public. Sheriff Palmer, presentation of the 2017 delinquent tax.
Good morning.
Good morning. I see you have a large stack.
For you?
Thank you. I'm going to move it a little bit. Otherwise, I don't think you'd be able to see me.
And I have your phone. Just so you know. Good. Thanks. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
These are the 2016 delinquent property, personal property, and real estate taxes. If you'll see, the real estate is $5,536,890 and change. The personal property is $3,034,558.05. These are from last year. If you have any questions, I can answer. If you have anything.
It just seems that they have gone up compared to the previous year. That doesn't mean that that is the final. item, of course.
And I can speak to that.
Yes, please do.
Actually, the total amount, as in comparison to 15.
Yes.
In 2015, total taxes to be collected in the county were 76.6 million. In 2016, it was 82.6 million.
Okay.
So that was an increase of $6 million. The delinquencies, so the increase of taxes was 8.15%, and the increase in delinquency was only 2.45. So
Okay. Yes.
comparably
That's
speaking,
a, that's a better explanation.
Okay.
So, thank you so much for clarifying that, okay?
Do I need to move to accept the delinquency report? I'll move to accept the 2016 delinquent taxes report.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to accept these. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution for Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month.
They are coming next week.
They are
had to
coming next
postpone.
week.
Yes.
Okay.
They forgot.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Colleen, do you have any grants?
I have several requests for reimbursements. I had the Day Report Center grant in the amount of $17,908.69. JJDP DMC grant in the amount of $8,032.91. The JJDP grant Voices 2 program in the amount of $2,178.84. I have the Governor's Highway Safety Program, distracted or impaired driving in the amount of $4,535.39. And Governor's Highway Safety Program Click It or Ticket in the amount of $948.35.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded for approval. We'll sign these a little bit later. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Correspondence. Have we any?
No, we do not.
Okay. Unfinished business, to consider an amendment of the rules of procedure for the Montague County Commission. At the beginning of each year, this commission will adopt its rule changes if it wishes to change its rules. As an introduction, when I came to commission, there were no minutes taken for work sessions. So it was, however, to me, the vehicle for which all the information was gathered that a decision would be made later at a commission meeting, and I consider this to be important. So I did introduce the motion to have these sessions recorded and minuted for the public, and it was done. Now, today, we hope to improve the transparency process. When we remodeled this nice, wonderful area that we now occupy, I asked my fellow commissioners if it would be possible to go ahead and install an extra set of cameras so that we could tape and videotape the work sessions and then use these as our minutes during this time. So this is done, and we are now poised to introduce, hopefully, an amendment to officially adopt a video and audio recording at the public work sessions to be available to the public. You'll have an opportunity to go and have a disc burnt. There will be a fee at this time for this, much as a copying fee would be made for the paper minutes.
Mr. President, yeah. To lessen the burden on the county clerk, I would propose the following. It's a new section titled Work Session. The minutes will include, it should be the work session minutes will include an agenda of the meeting and those individuals presenting. The meeting will be videotaped and will be the only record of the meeting. A notation on the minutes will include that a video copy will be available upon written request to the county commission at cost. I so move.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, just add to one point. We actually had this on the agenda last week, but we were tweaking and we wanted it to be right. So we've made some adjustments, and it now is a lot better quality. And I think it's a good move forward to further our transparency.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded to adopt this change. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any more unfinished business? Hearing none, we'll move to new business. Consideration of the contract between our commission and Republic Services for the recycling program.
Thank you. We had several meetings with Republic, Jambi and I, and also Renetta was in the first couple, and we knew there was an increase coming from, PSC approved that for allowing to charge when you dumped off your recycling. So therefore, after much discussion, I'm pleased to say that basically we have
what are 4 to 6 30 cubic ton, 4 to 36 cubic yard containers. And we have 4 to 6 of them every Saturday. They were charging $2.20. We were going to pay $2.35 per haul, but now we have no minimum. So if we only use 4 rather than 6 as it was higher, there's no delivery fees now and no fuel recovery fees. But the big addition was that at the time when we were discussing, there was a possibility of a $35 charge from every time we went from Westover, from that center, and that would have been close to $48,000. They are now doing that. Basically, we will take it over, and they will not charge a tipping fee. So basically, I'm real pleased. They've done a great job in the recycling area working with us, and they will continue to work with us. So I would like to move that we accept this contract.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to accept this contract. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and thank you for your work. Next, consideration of appointment to the Montague County Board of Health. Renetta?
We have two considerations. We have Keith Zulig, who's currently serving on the Board of Health, that wishes to be reappointed. You have a new application from Mr. Kyle Hawk, who I believe is on the Planning Commission.
Yes.
Yes.
Inasmuch as we usually choose to reappoint those who wish to remain on the board, I feel it would be important to continue the continuity of the board, but I'll listen to entertain a motion.
Well, I'll make a motion to reappoint Keith Zulig and with discussion.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded for discussion.
Obviously, we have two great candidates.
Yes.
Well, not obviously to everybody. I did talk to the president of the board of the Mon County Health Department and asked him for feedback on Mr. Zulig, because I've only been attending their meetings for a couple months. And I did get nothing but favorable response back from Sam Chico, who's the president of the board. He said he's highly informed, intelligent, and pleasant to work with, and a great asset to the county. Now, I will note that I know Cal from having come on to the commission. I've got to know Cal, and he's a very, very well-rounded individual. But in this particular instance, I think Mr. Zulig, with his background, brings a little bit more to the table, and he's already on the health board. So that's why I moved to have him continue his position.
Any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, it's been properly moved and seconded to adopt, or to reappoint this individual. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Consideration of requisition number 9 for the University Town Center Economic Opportunity to Develop District Sub-Account. Renetta?
Yes, sir. This is requisition number 9. This is money that we're moving to United Bank from the Economic Development District account. This is the increment.
Yes.
Paying back the bonds, $66,183.41.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any other new business? Hearing none, we will move to reports from elected officials. Sheriff Palmer.
We got something.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited.
Couple things. Quickly, first of all, we presented you with the delinquent taxes for 2016. We'll be back in 2 weeks for your approval on those. In recent weeks, we've received the area banking bids for the upcoming year for the county's money, and they were all very competitive. We have decided to stay with MVB Bank, so we'll be dealing with MVB Bank starting in July, which we have.
Okay.
Third and final, I know you all read last week of our drug roundup. I think it's very important for the citizens of Montague County to know that it was a joint effort between county, city, state, and federal agencies. But I think it's worth mentioning that our department itself, not only our law enforcement, our task force people, and our SWAT people, but also our civilians, that our process transport, our bailiffs, our office personnel, that all had a vital role in making sure this worked. We were able to arrest 47, and I think it sends a strong message to the people of Montague County to know, and those that continue to sell drugs here, that we're going to keep coming, and we mean business. So I think hats off. I just wanted the commission to know that our department did a very good, outstanding job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perry, I had a quick question. So you mentioned you brought the delinquents a couple
Yes.
weeks, procedurally, what were you, when you said you're bringing it back for our approval?
2 weeks.
What did we, that we're just being provided, so we didn't need to approve anything
You
today?
accepted it today.
Right, yes.
Okay.
To accept it, and then you'll have 2 weeks to review it.
Review it.
Okay.
And then we have to have a approval from the state.
All right, thank you, I
We
appreciate
won't
it.
hold
Thank
those
you.
back
Little light
up
reading
again,
for you.
okay? All right. Any other reports from elected officials? Hearing none, we'll go to reports from the county commissioners. Tom?
Okay, all good news. First, Dr. Mizes, I appreciate your coming. What I would ask the other county commissioners would be to send a letter asking the Bartlett House to come to us and give us a status report. I think that would be the better route of what's going on, because there is some question of what the future is of Bartlett House and what's going on. So if that would be okay, I just ask that we would just send a letter and allow them to come to a work session and just invite them, and then they could give us a status report, if that's okay. I think that would be a better way of,
Well, I think that's a good first step.
yeah,
Yes.
let's just do it that way. That way, then we could hear, and and then we could get a better idea. Second, I have to admit, for the first time in the history, I had never been to a 4-H camp, and Ed has been asking me to go, and both Ed and Sean and I went. It was the first time, I'll take his thunder because he used it, it was correct, that all 3 county commissioners had been there, and I have to say, I was blown away. I guess that's the best words. 180 kids running around, thrilled, active, and I appreciate what Becca Finn Clark has done and what the program's doing. And I just hope we can, 180 is maxed out. I hope there's a way we can even get, a couple more, because I know there were only a couple that couldn't make it. Then 2 days later, I went to Boyd State, and the first thing I did was said that I went to 4-H camp, and I did Hal, which I learned, and about half the people said Hal back. So it showed me that they had all been to 4-H camp. And they break into different political positions. I just want to say I talked with the people who were county commissioners who were all bummed out because they learned all the things they couldn't do. So I had to pump them up to explain that, you can do a lot of things. Finally, I know it's going to be brought up in work session, but I think it's important enough to publicly to say it. And because Kelly and Perry Palmer are here, I personally want to thank them. Former Sheriff Kisner, Phil Magro, for an agreement, I got the exact words, a final agreed order that is between the county commission and Ramada Inn. And I personally want to thank you because this was not an easy task. We had learned about this, and all of you were steadfast into this situation. Just so the public knows, we do not have a hearing now on Thursday. They gave us $25,000 yesterday, and they plan on giving us the other $91,229 when they sell the building by June 26th. So I think it's a real positive situation all around. I also want to congratulate you when you talk about delinquent taxes, but also that we are very supportive of you in the collection of taxes. And I really appreciate the working relationship, because I think a message also has to be said that, if you owe funds, and everyone's working real hard at this time, that before we raise taxes, we try and collect those that are still in front of us. And I personally want to thank all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sean?
I have a couple things. I echo Tom's comments about the 4-H camp. Though my daughters have been in the camp, I've been there for some of the events, but it was nice getting the special invitation to attend dinner and eat with the kids, and reaffirmed what I already knew, that there's a lot of wonderful kids, and it's a wonderful program. Becca Flint Clark does a wonderful job with that, so I appreciate the invitation. And there's a few other things I did have a Development Authority meeting last week. I also had, Tom, I wanted to bring this to your attention. I had lunch this week with Herman DeProspero and Susan Herman is on the CBB board,
Oh,
and we have lunch regularly, and he had Susan along. They were asking me questions about where we were as far as trying to move that process along that you introduced at the community leaders.
Oh.
And I suggested that maybe Susan come to a working session so that we can continue to talk about, okay, not just talk about doing something, but let's, what are the steps to help push that along? And,
That
you
would
know,
be good.
get the other municipalities involved. I had other things, but I wanted to address your concerns. I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names, but I met this individual at a Empty Bowls event. It was one of the first campaign events I ever went to, and you know, he gave me a lot of advice, and you know, I was very impressed with him. And then, you know, I wasn't aware of your situation, but you know, your comments at the beginning of the meeting kind of took me off track for the rest of the meeting. And it's, a lot of people need to, you know, see, you know, examples, homelessness, drug dependency, those type of things can happen to anybody. And I really appreciate you bringing those, and I really am interested in how we can help you out. The Bartlett House is one of those agencies, you know, but there's a bunch of different things out there in interrelated parts. They're funded partly by us, partly by the other municipalities. So it's not just us that, you know, needs to bring them to the table, but the other municipalities. And, you know, hear these stories and be aware of them. So I appreciate you bringing it. It had a profound effect on me. And anything I can do to help out, I would certainly be interested in.
Thank you. Last Wednesday, we did meet with Thomas Smith of the Department of Highway, or Department of Transportation, listening to his thoughts. And really, their plans all hinge, quite frankly, on the state budget. So to say what they're going to do will be revealed once the budget is settled. Thursday night, Met Theater Commission met, and it too has the same dependency. What the budget is going to be at the state will affect what is going to go on at the Met Theater, but things look really good at the theater, I think. Friday, Mike Paul and I were guests on WAJR on the morning show, and we discussed GIS mapping. It was really a good information getting out to the people that, you know, and we appreciate that particular show. Yes, Sunday, it was the first time in at least 30 years that I know of that we had all three commissioners at Camp Muffley, which is, I really can't say enough to thank both of you for showing up, as well as the Board of Education members, Mike Kelly and Dr. Barbara Parsons. The evening meal, believe me, when you get to sit around and converse with 11, 12, and 13-year-olds, and you know the adult level of the conversation that we were having, I did regard one person who remarked that her son was poised between you and I, Tom, and she would love to have been a fly on the wall to have heard what was going on at that time, to see what Thomas was saying. So, but thank you both. Tomorrow I have scheduled a personal meeting with the city manager of Morgantown, Paul Brake, more or less just to see how everything's going with him and what we can work with, you know, with the city, as the MPO meeting is going to be in the evening, and Father's Day is Sunday. I know, you know, I've not had my father around for the past 4 years, but if you do have your father, or even if you don't, take a moment to reflect and celebrate that day. And Monday, we have the Black Bear opening.
That's right, yes.
Opening day of baseball season will be Monday at the Black Bear Stadium. I believe we'll be in attendance. Come out and support this wonderful community thing that has been provided to us.
Since you brought that up, I'm amazed.
You always want to get in that.
I'm
last
sorry,
word.
I'm sorry, but you brought up
That's okay.
about the CVB. We, you know, just publicly, we are petitioning to try and have the state baseball
Yes.
tournament here. And the amount of misinformation, the amount of concern that Charleston has because we had the audacity to actually ask, it's really stimulated. I mean, even Martinsburg editorials were supportive of us. A lot of the places were supportive because it was closer up here. So, and again, as you said, that facility, I apologize, but.
It's okay.
That's it. Okay, now you can finish.
Let's have a motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.